Hi and welcome to the channel. I'm Sam and this is the Crafty Blinder van build. Today we're installing a table that can be stored away when it's not required. Hi and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to install one of these. Every van needs a table, whether it's to play cards on, to have your dinner on, or just somewhere to rest your drinks. But this is my table. I'm going to show you how I built it. Okay, we've unpacked the Laguna table stand and these are all the parts you get in it. Now I've drilled a couple of self-tappers into the back of there. I've pre-drilled these wedges. Now these wedges are really good. If you remember, I built this panel on an angle and I want to mount this on here, and there you go, these are wedges and they are perfect for where I want to mount this. So I'm chuffed to bits with them, really good. These actually come with no holes in, so I've got the bracket there and I've drilled some holes in it. So let's get on and get this mounted. Before installing the table bracket, consider the best location for you and your setup. For me, it's above the vent on the front bench seat. So when I turn the front two seats around, I can use the table there, and I can also use it while I'm sat at the bench seat. And when we're not using the table, it can be pivoted round and stored above the driver's seat. This piece of board is the backing plate that comes with the kit. It's utilised to spread the weight, but you can also use it as a template for where to drill your holes. I've actually removed 25mm off the top edge so it would fit snugly in this location. Once it's in position, I'm going to screw it to the furniture board and use the pre-drilled holes as pilots for the bolt holes. What we're going to do is line the wedges up, pop the bolts through. That's not far off it there. Nothing there. It turns out the bolts aren't long enough. I have to take that plate off actually. At the time I didn't have any longer bolts, so the only option really was to remove this plate and go from there. The original application for the Laguna table is on a boat, so you probably have a fiberglass panel and you would need a considerably larger spreader plate like this one. For the application that I'm using it on, where it's mounted on furniture board, I think I can reduce the size of the spreader plate to square washers. I'll give it a go and see how it turns out. We have, and hopefully these will fit. Yeah, the square washers. Keep dropping it. And that's how the bracket looks once it's installed. There is no top and bottom, it can be mounted either way, so you don't need to concentrate on getting that the right way up. It's then just a matter of fitting the table leg. And tightening it up. So this top piece is serrated. The arm that will support the table is bushed on one side, and that side there should go to the bottom. And then you can just tighten that up. If you need to move the table around, just a matter of loosening it off and it will spin, no problem at all. 3D. If that was 3D, that'd be in your face. But yeah, so just to show you, if you put it in the other way, it's hard to get on, because I think it's tapered to fit. So there you go. It doesn't move as smoothly the wrong way around either. So that is bushed on the bottom. This one, however, is bushed on the top, and that's for where you put the tabletop in. So we'll drop that in now. The tabletop's been made from an offcut of driftwood that we had lying round, and I've just put a grey trim along the edge, as I did with the doors for the van. Then secured the plate to the bottom, making sure that the screws that I used aren't deeper than the 15mm furniture board. And that's it really, it's pretty straightforward. That's it, all done. If you want that to pivot round, just loosen it off again. Just one thing to watch, I'll try and show you. Don't know if it'll let me show you this. Move it around here. If you leave that up like that and try and operate the table, it will catch. So always keep that down. That's it. Operating these handles are really simple. It's tight now. To loosen it off, you just turn. But if you need to get an angle on it, you just pull it back, drop it into that location and turn again. So now it's really loose. To tighten it up, it's just the opposite way around. That's simple. You can position the handle out the way, up, down. Real simple, real good bit of kit, worth every penny. We've curved one end so we can store the table into the chair. As you can see, that'll sit there lovely. If the chair was a little bit further forward, it would still sit in there and take up a little bit less room. Also, the table can sit in front of them two chairs. Can also be used here. The Laguna table will take 50 kilos in weight, including the weight of the worktop as well. So they've obviously done an assessment on it, and that's what they recommend, no more than 50 kilos on there. To achieve the correct angle on the table, so it was nice and level, we ended up having to put a lot more spacers and packers in here. So the second kit that I got come with 2 additional packers, and I thought that would be enough, but in all honesty it wasn't. I had to put an additional packer in the back. I'm currently looking for someone to make me an angled piece to go in here. I'll get the dimensions made, and I'll see if there's anybody out there that can 3D print me one of these. I think one of the problems we had with this kit was it's designed for a boat, so the panel that you would be mounting on it would be much thinner, probably 5-6 mil. Because we're using 15 mil furniture board, the bolts were always short. We've replaced the birch spreader plate that come with it, spreader panel, and we've used square washers, but even when we've got it mounted, the bolts were still short. When I've finally put all the pieces in, all the additional packers, the bolts were even shorter. So I've replaced them with some 8mm stainless steel 100mm long bolts, the square washers and nylock nuts, and this doesn't move now, it's absolutely solid. Table's brilliant. This is just a piece of furniture board, driftwood furniture board that we had left over. Cut it to shape, rounded off one edge so it can fit into the seat. If anybody's walking past, it's not as painful as walking into the square edge. So yeah, I love it. It's really practical. 3 of us can eat from it. I sit here, Riley sits there, and Lisa's on the end. But yeah, it works. Really good. I love this bracket. It's really practical, lightweight, and very simple to operate. Basically just spin that, it comes apart. That's where the table lives now. When I designed everything in the kitchen, something I didn't consider was how deep it was all going to be. So it's just too wide to fit in the cupboard that I made for it. So we've got some brackets off Amazon, about 13 quid, and the table lives there. So the second bracket we installed here, and this is probably one of the more commonly used ones, to be honest with you. Just pop that off there. Bar. Well, thanks for watching. That's the end of another video. We've had a little breakaway in the van, the longest one yet. We went to Camp Festival down in Dorset. Absolutely brilliant, loved it. We had a day where we were travelling around before we got there, so we drove down as far as Warwick, slept in the van overnight at Warwick, and then we travelled on to Poole. We spent a day in Poole. Down on the beach. Absolutely loved Poole, brilliant place. If you get the opportunity to go. I'll do a little video on the place very soon. We then spent the evening driving around looking for somewhere to sleep. We were spoilt for choice really, but what we did was we parked very close to the venue that we were going to. We actually slept on a military range, even though there were signs there saying no overnight parking. There was already guys parked there, so we joined, prepared to move if we had to move, but we weren't bothered. We stayed there all night. We left no mess. We loved being up there. It was a viewpoint, looking over towards the English Channel and out back across to Poole. Absolutely beautiful place. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Surrounded by crickets. We were actually serenaded to sleep by the crickets. It was really, really nice. We then spent the next day, sorry, we didn't spend the next day. The next day we actually drove down into Lulworth Castle, straight onto the site, straight through the gates. We couldn't have parked in a better position. We were right into the festival and we couldn't believe how quickly we got there. You know, we didn't queue up at all. There was no queue in front of us, there was nobody waiting behind us, it was just straight in. We spent 4 days at that festival, off-grid, completely off-grid. Our water lasted 4 days. We used the shower facilities that were on site, so didn't really give it a good test with us using the shower on a daily basis, but we lasted 4 days without having to fill up the water. The solar worked even on the cloudy days. There was only one day that we ran the engine for about 30 minutes just to give it a little top, because it had been really cloudy all day. So before we went to bed, to run the auxiliary fridge that we take with us, we give it the batteries a bit of a boost. The solar kept banging the charge in every day. It wasn't an issue apart from that one day. What else? Yeah, it worked. It really did work. There was a toilet emptying point there, Alsan Point. We used that twice. Once when we were there, when we first arrived, we'd obviously been using the van, so we used that facility straight away. And when we were leaving, we didn't want to trail around. We didn't know the next point that we'd get to use. So we've had a real good time. The van's proved itself. We've had a couple of runs off in it, and I call them proving runs. And it's for me to work out what worked and what didn't work, what needs improved. And off the back of that, we built the step, we've changed the fan in the bedroom, and we eventually fitted the blinds in the back of the van. So from this proving run, I come back with only one gripe, and it's the fridge. It's in the wrong location. So the back end of the year, when we're not using the van as much, I'm going to strip out all the kitchen, I'm going to reposition the fridge so it's at the front. In all honesty, we haven't used the microwave once yet. There was an opportunity to use it, but someone wanted to warm a bottle up down at the festival, and I wasn't quick enough changing the inverter over, and his daughter drank it as it was, so we could have warmed it up for them. It wasn't a problem. It wouldn't have took much charge out of the batteries, but I wasn't set up for it, so we missed that opportunity. So the microwave can move to the left, the drawer below can move to the left, the fridge can come back, sit under the sink, there's plenty of room there. But yeah, I think that's going to be the ideal place for it. And we might even look at rotating the door on it. For me, the door's always open the wrong way, and in all honesty, we're climbing in and out to go to the fridge. So if we could access the fridge, maybe even put the door on the end so we can access it from that end, we wouldn't have to come in the van for drinks. We could open the door and get our drinks and take them outside, because most of the time it is for cold drinks. So that's another project to do at the winter. I'm still on with the suspension project at the minute. We're also in the process of uprating the vehicle from 3.5 ton to 4 ton. A little bit more on that later, but I always knew when I'd finished the vehicle, I would still want a considerable payload for the garage. Convert one of these vans, people think they carry a lot of weight. In reality, they're only ever designed to carry 1 ton. You get a lot of volume for that 1 ton, but it's not really good enough. It's not really enough. By the time you've added what you need to go around the world and go on holiday and survive, you eat up that payload. So it was always my intention. I've been a truck driver in the past, so I knew I had to consider the weights all the way through this, and I'm going for 4 ton. I'm going to try and take the vehicle up to 4 ton, so we need to add a little bit more to the suspension system, a little air assist system. So that's on the cards to do as well. Once that's completed, we'll get the vehicle uprated, we'll get it plated up, but we're running too close to the 3.5 ton, and I'm not happy about that. So I'm looking at maybe shedding some weight over the Christmas time as well, physically myself, and a little bit out of the van as well. Don't know where to start first, but the obvious thing for me, the van's fitted with a tow bar that I never use, and I would consider that to be around about 50 kilos in weight. There's a platform on there, there's a tow bar, the ball hitch and all the pieces that go underneath, so there's 50 kilos straight away. The bed frame that I installed, probably over-engineered for what we need, so we're looking at that as well. Probably going to make an alloy frame and put that in its place. or maybe take out the supports and replace them with alloy. But we'll have a look at that, see what weight we can save. That's about it really. It's been an absolute blast building this van. I've loved it, and I tell you now, the people that we met in the festival, at the festival site, we were on what they call the kids campervan field, and then we were surrounded by T5s and T6s and the odd camper, you know, IV core campers and stuff like that. And the amount of people that spoke to me about this van and come and had a look around it and had a poke inside, and they were really impressed, and I got a lot of pride from that, a lot of satisfaction from that. And the whole thing, this channel, building the van, I've done it for me and my family, but I didn't realise what an impact it would have elsewhere. I didn't realise that people would enjoy what I was doing as much as you are. We broke 500 subscribers this week. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but for me, 6 months ago, I would have been happy at 50, and now we're at 500, and it's still growing on a daily basis. I love the questions. I love the interaction. I love it when people just drop me a line saying thank you very much, or love watching your videos. I had one the other day. I'm going to watch this video again, and I was like, wow, was it that good? And you know, the responses were nice. You know, I love all that sort of stuff. I feel, I can't think of the word. The words escape me for how I feel. But thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. It gives me a lot of well-being. You know, it helps me quite a lot with my own feelings. You know, to know that I've done something that people appreciate is really, really warming. It makes me happy, and it drives me on to do more. We're going to have a video come out about the trip to Camp Festival. I'll try and start working on that this week, so it's all fresh in my mind. But yeah, absolutely loved it. I didn't want to come home, in all honesty. We love Dorset. The south coast of England is fantastic. We had no problems. There was no trouble along the way. Nobody telling us we couldn't be there or do what we were doing. In fact, you know, the biggest problem we had was everywhere we went, it seemed to say no overnight parking. But on the upside of that, a lot of the farms were offering parking and camping, and it looked, you know, if we hadn't have found the places that we found, we would have definitely used one of these farms because we wanted to do that experience. But in all honesty, we didn't have to. So again, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for contributing. Thank you all for sharing. And thank you for subscribing. You know, chuffed a bit at the 500 mark. So we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. As I've said in the past, this channel is nothing without you guys. Thank you for your continued support, and we'll see you next time.